In this video, I'm going to show how to design a relational database for Phoenix Circus, and I'm going to be doing that using an entity relationship diagram. Let's have a look at what information we've got so far. We've been asked to create a database for Phoenix Circus. The database will record information about trainees, modules and levels. The results should be limited to unclassified, pass, merit and distinction. Trainees study modules, and modules are at level 1, 2 and 3. We've been given some sample data for Phoenix Circus, and we're going to have a look at that in a minute. But I also would like you to think about describing in your own words what this database is about. And we need to see if we can identify any primary keys that might uniquely identify potential entities or instances of entities. And we need to describe any potential relationships about the data as well. So let's have a look at the data. Here's the sample data. Let's just have a look at it. We've got first name, last name, trainee number, date of birth, module number, module name, level, duration, cost, completion date and result. And they're all attributes. So they're pieces of data, items of data, and remember an entity is made up of attributes. So what we're going to do is basically group the data together into entities, and we're going to normalize the data. And when we do that in relational databases, we're aiming to make sure that we store each attribute in one place only in our database, and that we have no duplicated data. The issue with having duplicated data in a database means, let's say for example, we needed to change the title, say, of one of these modules. And if we look at learning to juggle, we've got two examples there in our database. If we wanted to change that to learning to juggle with juggling balls, we would need to change it 2 times. And if we accidentally miss changing one, then we'll have an error in our database, because we'll have one that says learning to juggle and the other that says learning to juggle with juggle balls. So we're aiming to cut down on errors, and also we're aiming to make sure we make efficient use of storage as well. If we store things more than once, then obviously that's not efficient storage. Let's have a look at the data itself. So we've got Benjamin Boateng. He is identified with a trainee number of 800123, and his date of birth is 25/6/1986. So that trainee number 800123 identifies Benjamin Boateng, his date of birth. Let's have a look at another one. Let's have a look at Selina Khan, 800145. The date of birth is the 9th of October 1987. So again, that trainee number identifies all the details about Selima Khan. That trainee number is going to be a primary key. And if we've got a primary key, that suggests to us that we've got an entity trainee. Let's have a look at the module now. We've got a module number 100. Have we got another 100? If we just look down the column, yes, we have there. Module 100 is learning to juggle. And if we just come down to this 100 again, it's learning to juggle. So therefore, that module number identifies the details about the module. Each module's got a level as well. So learning to juggle is at level 1. Acrobatic dancing is level 2. Flying trapeze is level 2. I'll come on to these levels in a minute. So we've got a module number that identifies a module name with a level, and each module has a level. So that module number is going to be a primary key, so that suggests to us that we've got an entity called module. Let's just have a look at this level a minute. We've got level 1. Do we have any other level 1s? Yes, we do here. Let's have a look at the information about each level. So a level 1, duration 30, costs £60. Is a level 1 down here the same? Level 1, duration 30, £60. So that is duplicated data. Again, we don't want to do that. We just want to have one occurrence of level 1, duration 30, cost 60 in our database. And then we've got this completion date. So let's just go back and have a look at Benjamin Boateng has taken 3 different modules, 100, 200 and 250. And each module that is taken has got a separate completion date and it's also got a result. So that's completion date, and that result is dependent on the module number and it's dependent on the trainee number, because a trainee takes a number of modules and each module has got a completion date and a pass. Let's just have a look at Salima Khan. She's also taken 3 modules. She's taken Learning to Juggle, Fire Eating Beginners and Static Trapeze Intermediate. And if we just come along and have a look at the dates for those, she's completed 2 modules on the 2nd of July 21 and the 3rd one on the 12th of March. But she's actually got a different result. For those that she took on the 2nd of July, they've got a different result. One's a pass and one's a merit. So again, that completion date and that result depends on both the module number and the trainee number. Let's just summarise then. We've got the trainee identified by the primary key trainee number, and the attributes are last name, first name, date of birth. We've got the module number, which identifies the module name and the level for that module. Module number is the primary key and the attributes are module name and level. We've also got a level, which has a duration and a cost. Level will be the primary key and the attributes are duration and cost. And then finally, we've got modules that are taken by trainees. So we've got the trainees, we've got the module number, we've got a completion date, and we've also got a result for that module, for that trainee. So in summary then, what's this database about? It's going to store details about trainees who take modules, their completion date and result. Modules are at level 1, 2 or 3, and each level has a duration and cost. Can we see any potential primary keys? We said yes, trainee would be a primary key for trainee. The module number, yes, would be the primary key for module. And level would be the primary key for level. I think it's just to think about these relationships and just get a clear idea in our head what the relationships are between the entities. So we ask ourselves some questions. So can a trainee study many modules? And the answer is yes, a trainee can study more than one module. Can a module be studied by a number of trainees? Again, the answer is yes, because we've got different trainees taking the same module. Can a level be used on many modules? The answer there is yes, because level 1 is offered on a number of different modules. Can a module have many levels? The answer to that one is no, a module just has 1 level. Is the module duration the same for level 1? And the answer is yes. All level 1s have the same duration, and indeed all the same levels have the same cost as well. Here I've drawn up an initial ERD. So each entity is placed into a rectangle and named with the entity name. So we've got trainee, module and level. And on here I've put the relationships. So if we just look at the relationship between level and module first, level can be used on many modules. So the relationship is 1 to many. And the crow's feet there signify the many side of the relationship. Let's have a look at the relationship between trainee and module. We said a trainee can take many modules and a module can be taken by many trainees. So we've got the crow's feet on both sides of the relationship, and that represents a many-to-many relationship. The next thing to do in our ERD is to add the primary keys. So we said the primary key for trainee was trainee number. The primary key for module was module number. And the primary key for level is just level. And you'll notice I've underlined those to signify that they are the primary keys. The next thing to check in our design is to see, are there any many-to relationships? Because if there are, then this is a problem to be resolved. Many-to-many relationships cannot be implemented in Access. They've all got to be 1 to many. And there is a many-to-many relationship between trainee and module. So the solution is to break up the many-to-many into 2 1-to-many relationships. And we do this by creating a new entity that goes in between the 2 original entities. We take the name for the new entity from the name of the 2 original entities, and the primary key for the new entity is made up of the primary keys from each original entity. So here we have the revised ERD, and you can see I've taken that relationship, that many-to-many relationship between trainee and module out. I've put in a new entity, and the name for that new entity is taken from the 2 entities that we've just split up. So I've taken trainee, and I've taken module and module. So this new entity is called trainee module. The primary key for this new entity, we take the primary keys from the 2 entities that we've just split up. So we've got trainee number, and that's come from trainee number there. And we've got module number, and that's come from the module number there. The relationship between level and module is just the same as before because it's a 1-to-many relationship. And you can see now what we've got is module has a 1-to-many relationship with trainee module, and trainee has a 1-to-many relationship with trainee module. That many-to-many relationship between trainee and modules disappeared, and it's been replaced by 2 1-to-many relationships. The next stage in the design is to add the foreign keys. On the many side of a relationship, you need a copy of the primary key from the 1 side of the relationship. We use an asterisk to denote a foreign key. The primary key of the new entity trainee module is made up of the primary keys from the 2 original entities, i.e. trainee number and module number, and together they make up the primary key for the new entity. But individually, they are also foreign keys, and you'll see this in action when I show you the diagram. So here we have our updated ERD. Let's have a look at the foreign key that we need between level and module. So wherever we've got a many here, we need to go to the one side of the relationship. So we go to level and we pick up the primary key and we put that in as a foreign key on the many side. So there it is, level. And it's got the asterisk behind it to signify that it is a foreign key. Now let's have a look at the relationship between trainee and trainee module. Here we have a many side. So we need to go back to the one side, trainee, get the primary key, trainee number, and we put that in the many side of the relationship as a foreign key. Now we've already got trainee number there because it's part of the primary key. So all we need to do is just put an asterisk behind it to denote that it is a foreign key as well. And then finally, this relationship between module and trainee module. Here's the many side, so we need a foreign key. We go back to the one side, module, get a copy of the primary key, module number, and put it in as a foreign key on the many side. And again, as with trainee number, module number is already there because it's part of the primary key. So all we need to do is put an asterisk behind it to denote that it is a foreign key as well. So just a reminder that the primary key for trainee module is made up of trainee number and module number. Together they make up a primary key, but separately they're also foreign keys. So trainee number is a foreign key and module number is a foreign key as well. The next stage in our design is to add the attributes to the ERD. What we're going to do is take each attribute and decide which entity they best belong with. We need to ask ourselves a question for each one. Is this attribute totally dependent on the primary key of the entity, i.e. first name or surname even? Are they dependent on the trainee number? And the answer is yes, because that trainee number gives us the name of the trainee. The module name, is that dependent on module number? And again, yes, it is, because the name of each module has its own module number. Sometimes attributes are dependent on primary keys made up of two other primary keys, as we've seen previously. So in this case, completion date and result are dependent on both the module number and the trainee number, as trainees study modules and modules are studied by trainees. And here is the final ERD with the attributes added to it. Let's just have a quick look at this. Look at level first. So the level primary key has, for each level, a duration and a cost. Remember, level 1 was 30 minutes and the cost 60. For level 2 they had a different duration and a different cost, and for level 3 again was a different duration and a different cost, but all the level 2s were the same, all the level 3s were the same. Let's have a look at this module. Module number, the primary key. Remember, level is that foreign key, and it has a module name which is identified by that module number. Let's have a look at the trainee. The trainee number identifies the first name, the last name, and the person's date of birth. And then finally, this trainee module entity. Trainee number and module number make up the primary key. And for each trainee, when they take a module, there is a completion date and a result. The completion date and result are dependent on both the trainee number and the module number, because trainees take modules and modules are taken by trainees. That completes the design of the database. From this, we can now go on and actually create the database in Access. it's well worth spending time working on this design and getting it right from the start. If you just jump straight into Access and create your database and start entering data, it's actually quite difficult to make changes once you've got data in. So taking care at this stage ultimately will save time later down the line when you've actually got data in your database. The next video will cover creating the tables in Access.